Of course, for the other side of the story and perspectives from the other side, joining us now is Ümit Nazmi Hazır, the political scientist who joins us now from Moscow in Russia. Ümit, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for your invitation.
Now, I want the Russian perspective in all of this. In your expertise, when will this war end and who stands to lose what at this point in the war?
I think, from my perspective, the war will be lasting for a long time because, first of all, negotiations are not going well as we wish, and what's more, there is no reason to come to end in the war. And on the other hand, it is also early to say whether Russia or Ukraine has succeeded in the war yet. And that's why I think the war will be lasting for months. It is more than August, or maybe it could take more than a year, I guess.
So, do you agree to the stipulated timeline that has been predicted at this point, that the war may end at this timeline predicted? And who do you think stands to lose and who do you think stands to win?
No, I don't think. I totally do not agree with this timeline, because that, first of all, Russia must gain something in order to come to peace, because the war also very costs for Russia. And for another thing, in March, I was more hopeful because in March there were some negotiations, face-to-face negotiations. One of them was held in Istanbul, and both sides, after the negotiations, following the negotiations in Istanbul, both sides expressed some positive signals and messages. However, after April, it changed, and the situation has become more and more worse than the beginning of beginning of March. And the negotiations right now, face-to-face, are not held. It is one of the reasons, because in order to come to peace and in order to end the war, you must have negotiations. However, currently, the negotiations are not held. It is, I think, it is important reason.
Right, absolutely. Just a final question there. What's happening in Russia and the comments coming from Russia are very different when it comes to talking about a resolution to this conflict. We've heard the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov say that the West has announced a total hybrid war against Russia and it is hard to predict how long it will last. Lavrov also said that the implications of the same would be felt everywhere. Is this a kind of an ominous warning in your estimation?
According to official discourse and rhetoric of Russia, they always accuse of the West because Russia claims that the West wants this war going on, and the West, especially the United States, is taking advantage of this war. It is the official discourse, official position of Russia. And for another thing, as far as you know, that Russia has changed the strategy of the war, because in the beginning of the war, Russia was targeting to capture northern Ukraine, and Russian troops, military troops, were settled around Kiev. However, in 1 month ago, almost 1 month ago, Russia has changed the strategy, and Russia withdrew troops from around Kiev and northern Ukraine, and Russia right now is focusing on eastern Ukraine and especially Donbas region. And
right.
For another thing, Russia is targeting to reach southern Ukraine. It means that Russia wants to continue this war, and Russia wants to capture more and more territory in Ukraine.
Right, Ümit. Thanks so much for all your perspectives and insights. Thanks for joining us on WION World is One at this hour.
Thank you very much for your invitation.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.